is Richie Rich, aka Brand New In, and this is my Irelia guide. My name's Young Richie Rich. As you can see, this is a fives game right here. It's actually a game I already played. It's just commentary from my Irelia guide, so you guys will get a feel of how Irelia looks like inside a fives game, inside scrim and team play. And so I'm right here. I have that Frost Booty Irelia or Frostblade Irelia, and we're playing against a decent team right here too. This is Diamond 1, the ELO team, and I hope you guys enjoy this commentary. Alright, so this matchup right here is an Irelia versus Rumble. Rumble will do some poke to you in the early game, but you'll be able to sustain it. It's actually a relatively medium matchup. It's an easy matchup. Um, what why I say that is because if Irelia, if the Rumble's good, he will he'll make it hard for you to CS in the early game. But if you're a good Irelia player, you can still see us somewhat decently. He starts with Doran Shields. I start Flask to survive his harass in the early game, so then I can still be useful because once I hit level 7 inside this lane, it's a sayonara sucker for that Rumble. Alright, I'll continue this now. So, I'm going to go over her skills, which is her first skill being her passive, we have something called Ionian Follower, which is kind of like the Mastery, where it's like it's like tenacity basically, but it actually stacks with it, so it makes it a little bit better. Why is this good? Because inside team fights, CC is probably gonna last like roughly less than you. Like Devanari, her charm's only gonna last like 1 second to me, as opposed to it being originally 2 seconds. So that's always a nice bonus to have in the game. And you know this passive makes Irelia really strong in the mid game. She's able to survive a lot of CC. She's able to take it for her team like a boss, be a true tank with tanky items, and still be an assassin all at the same time. So, yes, that's why she's so cool. Alright, her first skill is her Blade Surge. What the skill does is, alongside your basic attack damage, basically the Blade Surge, it's a dash. It dashes towards them and it inflicts damage. It helps Irelia last hit under turrets as well, so I usually generally grab it as a second skill, but I max it last as opposed to maxing the Heat and Style and the Equilibrium Strike, just because of the utility that Equilibrium Strike offers. Now, the cool thing about Blade Surge is, if you kill a minion with it, it refunds half the mana cost, or just a little bit more than just half the mana cost. And it also refreshes the cooldown of the skill. So when you're last hitting on a turret, it also resets your attack animation. So like if you hit a minion, you Q it with your Blade Surge, you activate your Blade Surge on it, and then it'll hit them again. So that's why that skill is awesome. And last hitting on a turret is really easy when you do this. So this is the reason why I love this skill. This is the reason why I love this champion. She's a great champion to pick up when you first start learning, because last hitting can be a little difficult, but with Irelia, she helps you a lot with her Q, with her Blade Surge. So yes, that's why I love this champion. And also the cool thing is with your passive, which your Heat and Style, which I go over it next, it actually activates with your Heat and Style. So let's say that you Blade Surge to somebody, your Heat and Style will also activate on top of that. So it's a really nice skill to have. It's a gap closer, so it's also on a really decently low cooldown, max level at 6-second cooldown. So that's what makes it such an amazing skill. Alright, her second skill, her Heat and Style, is a passive that also heals her, as well as when you activate it, it gives you true damage for 6 seconds. Now let me tell you why that's amazing. Okay, this skill is the bread and butter of Irelia, because right here, this skill, it provides a lot of burst in the mid game, which is Irelia's roughly strongest point. It also doubles in health restored when you activate it. So when you can sustain yourself inside a fight, especially when you're low HP, when you activate that skill. So that's the reason why I love that skill. And also heals when you hit turrets, it heals when you hit minions, it heals when you hit everything. So that's why this skill rocks this world, you know. When you hit it's roughly weak when it's level 1 to level 2, but when you hit level 3, it starts giving 45 true damage in each auto attack, and that's enough to burst down enemies or chunk them out of the lane. So that's why I usually wait till around this time. Like as you can see, it's adding some damage right now. Could be more, but you know, I only do that because I have a flask, so I can heal up everything, and I want to burn some mana as well as putting down some harass on him. So yeah, it's always nice. Obviously, it wasn't the best trade. The range minions were hitting me, but yes. The Equilibrium Strike is her third skill, and this skill is awesome. You'll see me use it right there. You see he overheats me. He's doing some harassing me, but a lot of times what happens is when champions harass you like that, you just Equilibrium Strike them and walk away and be a total baller. Even if you're higher HP than them, you will do that because it's still 60%. It's still 60% slow for 1 to 2 seconds, depending on the level of the skill. So that's what makes the skill awesome. And also, if you're the same HP as them, like you say you're both 100% HP, if you just walk up to him and you stun them, it will still. If you walk up to them and equilibrium strike them, it will still be a stun. And you can see this is an example of last hitting under the turret with Blade Surge. Um, if you Blade Surge the minions, like I said, it's just going to be really easy for you. Ideally, you want to conserve as much of Blade Surging as possible because if you have like a fight like right now, you want to have the mana, but if you Blade Surge minions like 24/7, while it does look cool, you're burning a lot of your mana, and you're gonna be sorry when a gank comes by and you're like, hey, I don't have enough mana to actually stun him again. So yeah, that's the reason why you should always just like kind of last hit like intricately with just your regular basic attacks. I mean, if you're a gangplank, that's a different story. Right here, he's already dead in the lane, and the Blade Surge acts like an auto attack reset, so I just continue using it so I can push it away. The last skill that she has is her Transcendent Blades. You'll see it in just a bit. It looks really cool, actually. I was attracted when I first saw a skill used by Irelia. I thought it was like, damn, that's awesome. Why can't all champions summon stuff like that and just shoot them at people? But here, you'll see it right here. I'm about to hit level 6, and that's the reason why I stay inside this lane. Hold up 1 second. I'm actually gonna log off this TeamSpeak. So as I'm gonna rewind it so you can look at it again. Basically, I'm about to hit level 6. I want to clear the wave so Rumble gets denied as much EXP as possible and minions. And basically, the Transcendent Blades, they can clear minion waves real quick. Like, let's say for example, Rumble was to roam later in the game and like go to the mid lane. Most likely, you can just Transcendent Blades, whatever the size of the creep wave is, it'll clear almost all of them. And you can Blade Search on onto the rest of them and just clean up the whole entire wave. And you can get free turret damage off, so that's always nice. And yeah, now I'm gonna go over item builds. Also, Transcendence Blade. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, Transcendence Blade also gives you a heal when you activate it on champions. So that's always a nice bonus. Like, basically, what goes on when you activate the skill onto champions is it gives you 25% of the damage dealt back onto you and heals for you. And if you're hitting minions alongside of it, like this is why I love the skill too. Most champions can't trade when there's a big amount of minions, but this ultimate will clear the minion wave, and it will heal you. So it's a really nice thing to have. And here I'm just getting some harass on him. Like, I guess I need to go over this matchup just a little bit now that I'm done with the skills. Basically, in this matchup, in the laning phase, you want to play as passively as possible till you hit level 5, level 6, and on. And once you hit that threshold, now you can start bullying this guy. So as you can see, what I did there is I Blade Surge to a low HP minion in the back. I actually got weakened earlier. And you Blade Surge to the minion, and you get into the range for Equilibrium Strike, which is roughly 300 range, 200 range. And once you do that, you're able to sneak in some auto attacks. You're able just to walk alongside of him, and you get some free auto attacks on him. And once he gets out of range for you to not be able to auto attack him anymore, you Blade Surge onto him and you hit him for an extra time. And now he has almost lost all his health, so that's why you do that. It's a really nice skill to have. So yeah, that's what you want. Once your heating style gets a couple levels, you can really chunk people, and you can really punish them. And once you hit level 9, level 7, the damage just goes up tenfold, and you'll see in just a bit what happens. Alright, so in this matchup, I build a Phage first because Irelia, once she hits level 7, Rumble has a very hard time keeping up with your damage. You just deal so much more damage than he does. He gets close to this minion, I walk up to him and I just stun him, and I chase him out of the lane. Actually, and even just how strong Irelia's burst is. If I had activated my Ignite and my ultimate, if I had those both up right now, he would actually be dead right now. So That's always nice to have because he recently burnt his flash, and I would be able to flash up to him, get an extra auto attack in with my equilibrium strike or basic attack, and this will do roughly 200 damage alongside ignite doing 190 true damage. He only had 390 HP left. It just shows that I really can quickly take out 1,000 health on somebody. And look at my life. It looks like I just walked free. Like just nothing happened, and he just got chunked, and he has to leave the lane now because of Irelia's sheer strength. All right, and so basically, I walk up to make sure he's backed off, and then I push the wave right now. Um, what inside this matchup, I grab a phase as fast as I can because Rumble's skills, his flame spitter only hits in the cone in front of him, and so basically, it's like think of it like Annie or like some other champion that just shoots in front of him only. So if they're turned around, they can't really do any damage. So that's what Rumble's weakness is against like certain champions that just out brawl him, like Jax and stuff. They just beat the crud out of Rumble, and Rumble can't really retaliate the damage. So like if he's running away, he won't deal the damage back, and that's the reason why Irelia is so strong. Like if Rumble's facing towards her and trying to auto attack her to death and just fighting her in a straight up brawl, Irelia will win the battle. And so if he's running away too, he deals no damage like you saw earlier, and you just get away with a free trade. So that's always nice. And I'm gonna speed up the game from here. So I'm gonna tell you my item build is usually the phage first, just so he can't run away. As you can see, the slow, it gives him a hard time. And then after that, I go for a wit's end. What happens here though is I chase too far up. The jungler comes in at just the perfect time. Ideally around this time, 10 minutes in the game, in a competitive environment. If the jungler comes top 10 minutes into the game, I'm gonna show you what happens here. It usually means a dragon is going to be taken for free. It usually means something along those lines. So, I mean, it's a poor decision, obviously on his fault. It's okay I actually even died there just because of how that happened. Like, if I didn't die, that would have been great. If I could have lived from that gank, that would have been amazing. That would have been like the most ideal situation. But the jungler comes up top around this time, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. You'll see what happens on the map. Um, the bottom tower is lost. We actually take the dragon really early too, so that's always nice. As you can see, it's gone now, and that's all because the Nocturne decided to go up top. So if you're pulling away pressure like that, and you're winning your lane like that, that's always nice. As you can see, I still have a CS lead, and I have roughly more gold than he does too. So I have 3,700. He has 3,600. So I'm currently winning this battle. So hey, that's really nice. Now, what goes on next in these few minutes is I'm just gonna rush until when Irelia is like even more useful. Um, I'm building towards my wit's end, which is the next item I want to grab before anything inside this matchup, because wit's end, it deals 42 bonus magic damage on hit. It gives her attack speed, which is always nice with her heat and style, since the more hits off you get during the duration of the heat and style with her true damage, it makes her a lot stronger. So I'm doing like 100 like damage just from on hit, and that's always an amazing thing to have. Here I'm just clearing the wave. Like I said, I saw Rumble roam, so it's always nice to clear the wave. And it makes your straight up dueling potential stronger because you have magic resist as well. So he can't trade with me, he can't run from me with my phage. These are my ideal items when I pick up, and since I'm gonna be splitting the whole entire game, like if Sayla was behind, by this time I will build like a Merc Shreds, I would build a Warden's Mail, I would build Tanky at this point. But since my team's actually ahead, like, well, it might not look like the score's ahead, we're actually ahead right now because of how much free fire I'm getting and how this matchup works up. So what happens from here is I just continue to split. They're pushing down middle, and that's okay with me. So I decided to just keep pushing up top, and so I can draw some pressure top, make them stop pushing mid, make them back off. Like as you can see here, they're backing off because of how I'm just pushing the top lane. And Rumble can't fight, so I'm keeping him away from his team, and that's That's what you want to do during these situations, team fights. That way your team can win the team fights. Because Rumble is not really strong in a 1v1 situation. He's only strong in like a team fight position, unless Rumble gets ahead, or unless you're Balls, who's a great LCS player by the way. And right here, um, we cleaned up their whole like most of their team already. And you know what? I decide that since jungler won't probably come and Ezra has to stay mid to try and clear waves against his team so they don't lose two turrets. I decide that I'm gonna try to bait the Rumble out into this area. Irelia is a roughly strong champion, and you're gonna see her burst in just a moment. Um, I'm trying to get to like half HP right now, so he thinks that he can kill me because I know that he has both his summoners up. But Irelia sustain with her Heat and Style passive, her Transcendent Blades. Like, see, I walk up forward right here on purpose, and then I Blade Surge out, and he decides to chase me, and this is where I decide, okay, let's turn it on. So I start off with the stun because I'm lower HP than him, and I immediately activate my Heat and Style, as you can see, and I sneak in as much basic attacks as I can. I activate my Ignite after I get a couple Transcendent Blades off of him because I don't want him to flash right away because I don't want to chase him that far. And since I had my Phage on him, he couldn't run away, and I already snuck in a lot of attack damage on him, and I just need to burst him down with Ignite and auto attack. So as you can see, I was half HP, and I still took on a full HP Rumble with summoners and everything, just because of how strong Irelia is. And that took like only like 6 seconds for me to kill him. So that, as you can see, that's how good Irelia's burst is. She just deals insane amount of damage. Like I believe he even had like 2,000. He had 2,000 HP, and I just destroyed all of his health. So yeah, ideally at this point, if your team's ahead, you just want to split, like I said, as much as you can, so you can draw as much jungle pressure top, as much pressure top. You want to pull as much people away from top as possible. Force them into a situation where they have to team fight. They have to fight, or else their team's gonna lose. So that's the reason why, because then like no one can handle you 1v1, so they have to group as 5 when the lane's pushing against them, and they have to do something like that's not ideal. That's not like an ideal team fight position unless we make a mistake, and that's what we're doing right here. And I continue splitting, and like I said, ideally if I'm behind, I will build tanky items. Right now I'm ahead, and I want to keep splitting the map. I want to keep the pressure, so I built a Trinity Force so I can increase my dueling potential as much as I can. And the cool thing too is while Irelia is split pushing, she has the opportunity to also roam after she takes the turret or whatnot. So you'll see that here in a bit. I take the turret, and after I take the turret, because no one came top, I decide to roam down, and I just pick up some free kills so I can become stronger. So yeah, I Blade Surge onto the Rumble, I Blade Surge onto him, and I kill as much people as I can, and I get double buffs, and now I'm really, really strong, and no one can for sure handle me. So I mean, on Irelia, if you're ahead, you want to get your 2 offensive items as soon as you can. She's still relatively tanky, even though she has those offensive items. And my real item build this game would have been probably in a Wit's End, a Trinity Force, Merc Treads, a Spirit Visage, and then I get a Randuin's and a Guardian Angel to top it all off. And you'll see here, I'm gonna speed up to the first team fight because what an actual team fight looks like. So I have those items. You can see I'm building my way to the Spirit Visage. We're able to grab the mid turret and pick up another kill. And basically in team fights, what you want to do as Irelia is if you have assassin items like this, you want to be a big pain in the butt for an Ari or a Ezreal, and you want to just in an ideal team fight. Actually, I think I get picked off by I lived in this area, like you'll see in a bit. We started going inside the jungle, and we're rotating to our bottom lane, I think, because we already took the mid turret right here. And we're getting wards out, and they choose a bad spot to fight us. And basically, inside team fights like this, I just want to go for these guys. I want to put CC onto them so that we can land a great Orianna ult, or maybe even a Jarvan ult to keep them inside there, so I can brawl them and kill them. Or so I can get a good crescendo off, because most likely when I stun like a carry like Ezreal or Ari, that gives a good opportunity for like a good ultimate to go off on them. So that's ideal. What you want to do, and when you have CC backing you up, you can kill the backline really fast. And also, like I said, the Ionian Fervor makes Irelia's have a really good time during team fights. Okay, so our driving gets caught out, and I'm staying close to them, and I go on, and I stun the wrong guy. Actually, I should have probably stunned Ezreal, so my Sona can get a good out off. But because of my Ionian Fervor, I'm able to live from that fight and get away from all the CC, and just run away free home. And I run away right here, and I'm able to get out because of Ionian Fervor. And I'm really, even though Aurelia's HP is low inside team fights, she still offers a lot of utility in the fight because her Equilibrium Strike's still a 2-second stun. That's like, if you're low HP like this, that means anybody on their team that I get near, that I get in range to activate my Equilibrium Strike, they will most likely get stunned. And also, she can go in and provide a lot of bursts with her Blade Surge, so that's always nice. And yeah, that's basically what Irelia does in team fights. Until the AD carry gets 3 or 4 items, you won't necessarily have a hard time as Irelia. Like even though I'm low HP, as you can see, these guys are scared of me because of what I'm gonna do if I dash onto them. If I Q onto them and I Equilibrium Strike them, they'll get stunned. So that sucks. Um, but ideally, inside team fights in the super late game where the AD carry has the same items as Graves, like if he had a Phantom Dancer, a Last Whisper, and a Bloodthirster, alright, now most likely you're going to have a hard time actually assassinating them because they're going to actually do a smack ton of damage. If their support's peeling for them, you're just not going to do the damage that you want to do. So you'll probably die every single team fight if you're doing that. And so in that case, it's better just to peel for your own AD carry in those situations, unless he's behind. Unless your own AD carry is behind. But in those situations, you just want to peel for your own AD carry. And by doing that, what will happen is you'll get low HP, and you'll kill the enemy tank faster, and you'll make sure your own AD carry doesn't die. And then most likely you'll be less HP than the other carries on the enemy team. So what you could do is you could dash onto them and just Blade Surge them, and you can Equilibrium Strike them and stun them, and that gives Irelia a good time. She just cleans up and becomes happy, and yeah, that's what you want to do in team fights in the late game. Mid game, so I'll just give you a quick overview. Early game, you want to farm as passively as possible until you hit level 5 or 7, so you can bully the other laner. And after that, mid game, you want to split as much as you can, taking out free turrets. As you can see here, I took these 2 turrets out by myself. And then after that, you want to push and roam as much as you can, if you can. If you're behind, then you would start roaming with your team earlier. You would build tankier, less assassin oriented, and yeah, this is another team fight that breaks out. And then in the late game, you want to be an assassin if you can, and if the carry doesn't have a lot of items. And if you're behind, you want to go for the carry. If your AD carry is behind, I mean. But if you're ahead, you wanna. Oh wait, what was it? I'm sorry. But let's say if you're ahead, then you just want to force as many fights as you can, and you want to peel. When it comes to super late game and the enemy AD carry has a lot of items, you want to peel for your own AD carry, and that's just a quick overview. And alright guys, that basically just about wraps up my guide for Irelia. If you want to check this out, more Irelia gameplay, more gameplay period, you can check out my stream, which is going to be twitch.tv/LawRichieRich. This is actually my first guide, so I'm sorry if the commentary isn't as great as it could be. Also, you could check me out, follow me on Twitter. It's twitter.com/LawRichieRich. And I just want to do a quick couple shout outs. I want to say thank you to Gunnars. They actually they've helped me a lot. I play relatively close to the screen because I don't know, I'm just one of those people that I stare at my screen really closely, and it's really bad for your eyes. But the Gunnars, I've gotten them, I've had them for like a year. These things are amazing, and I just want to give a quick shout out to them. Also, a quick shout out to my team. Our team's called Don't Ban Nocturne or Jarvan. Basically, It's a quick joke. Our jungler in solo queue used to only play Jarvan and Nocturne. So if you're just wondering what it is, I'm probably I would guarantee you guys we'll become an LCS team someday, and you'll see all of us someday somewhere inside that line of gameplay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for enjoying this guide, and yeah.